He was tough. And Joe Messina was afraid of him. Actually, Joe Messina used to pay him tribute.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Gino.
I heard the sound, put my hand down, and started to see blood. I went down. They took the money. The other guy didn't shout back. The bodyguard, lucky for that, because I was right there in front of them.
Where did he shoot you?
In the stomach. In my stomach.
Oh.
He had the gun on my side belly, As he hold me, and he had the gun on the side. Want to see my belly? Anyway, then as they took the money, they were shooting, and boom, they give me another shot, the last. Now, somebody, luckily, a Spanish guy, picked me up, put me in his car to drive me to the hospital. Joe came there to visit, and that was strange. We weren't really that close. He came with Salvatore. He was supposed to be, uncle. He was through marriage. Salvatore was really my wife's blood uncle, my mother-in-law's brother. And Sally was not too many years away from me, so we were close. And through him, I was close to Joe too. But Joe never liked me because he just didn't like the idea of me being friends with the Rastelli, with Sonny Black, because we became friends. I used to go with Marty all over the place, like a big shot. And you go in there, you're like a king, you're with the top guys,
How was Sonny Black? As a person, how was he?
Sonny Black was like a regular quiet guy. He didn't get very friendly with nobody. He was tough. I heard stories that if you give him the wrong look, he cut you, He had a blade, he cut you. I heard one incident that he stabbed a guy in his heart and in his leg because he gave him a dirty look. He was tough. And Joe Messina was afraid of him. Actually, Joe Messina used to pay him tribute, because Joe said, I can't stay with this guy. I got him $250 a week for what? For what? Because at that time, Sonny was not really a businessman. Sonny was a street guy that robbed, everything. He was like an enforcer. He was not big guy. A lot of these guys, real bosses, they were like 5'5", 5'6". Yeah. They had the big guys around them, but most of them were little guys. A lot of them were little guys, and you should look at them and say, "What?"
Like Carlo Gambino was a small guy, right?
Yeah. Carlo Gambino, all these guys. Even today, I don't want to mention their names. Very popular from East New York. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. But they're on top of the hill right now. They're old timers now, 80 years old. Because I was like 20 and they were like 33, 34. They were like 13, 14 years older than me. They already were connected, So they knew the ropes. Me, I was trying to be like them. Yeah. And Marty used to say to me, "You're not like them." You know what I mean? You make pizza. You're small potato. You're nothing. Stay away from these people. Just stay with me, and I teach you. The American way.
When Joe Messina went to the hospital, what did he say to you?
Well, I was. given my rights, before that, he was, detectives were questioning me. Well, you shut up and they question you. That's how much they really care. What happened, because they're in the case. And then when they chased the detectives away, Joe Messino came in with Sal, and he's laughing at Sal. This guy arrested me while I'm dying. He's bragging that the guy busted him, once. He was a piece of shit, put it this way, and how you could justify, somebody 13 years older than you already on his way to make his button, you're going to say something, the Rastelli was trying to tell me, that's your uncle, you're going to be with him, you know. I said, I don't want to be with him. I don't want to be with you, I like the family. I like the way I get treated. I don't like the way, the kind of guy he is. He doesn't have no roots, no, because like I was a Sicilian, and born from tradition, and this guy was a thief, a hustler,
Yeah.
liar, a weasel, scheming, I don't want to be with him. So I wanted to be independent. Everybody keeps on saying to me, "What the fuck is independent?" What's independent? It says it itself. I want to be my own man. I want to do my thing. I don't want to. I don't want to be with him. You know, and that resentment was even more. Anyway, so we went through a lot of this kind of back and forth, and he tried to put me really out of business many times because I built up my own bookmaking. He never knew. I always kept it quiet because I was with the Germans and the Irish, and there was this kid, is 5 years old, Hans. His name was Hans. That he was a heavy gambler, and we became very close. So I will go with him to all these nice spots, gambling spots, um, and meet a lot of people. And I didn't need Joe Messino. I was doing my own thing, and I was making money. I had the kids, bring me stuff, to sell, stolen watches, stolen things. So I was doing that. I was making money, going to Manhattan, the big top place, that time was the Windows in the World, Terrace in the Green. I don't know if you ever heard of those places. The
Yeah.
Four Season, all the top places. The money. A young guy, you can hate it. He hated it, but he couldn't do nothing about it. So that's when that happened to me. So I don't know if he was connected to it, but I know he knew something about that was going to happen, and he didn't try to warn me. Being I was in my 20s. There's a lot of story there. So that my book that I wrote, it tells you more in details. How I lived in Brooklyn for the 4 years. Having rumbles. Fighting.
Yeah.
And then going into Glendale, when I started fighting the Irish and the Germans because I was Italian, Sicilian, they resented it. So I had to fight my way to get respect. So the book tells you more in details. Joe Messino, this conflict we had for a period came that I lost everything. I lost the pizzeria, I lost catering truck, my gambling, we used to call it the gambling casino with the poker. You
Yeah.
know, I had all, once I got shot, I had no control no more. So they all took it from me, you know. I ended up then going work at construction. Manhattan. After I healed, you know, it took me time to lose it all. I try to
Yeah.
hold on to it, but Joe was moving up, and I was moving down. You know,
Is
so
this around
everybody
the
that
time? Was this around the time that Donnie Brasco started coming around, Joe? Coming
yeah,
around
yeah,
Sonny Black?
yeah, that was after. The Nebraska came along later. I think that Nebraska was more in the 80s. Wasn't it in the 80s?
I think so.
Donnie Black,
I,
I think it was in the 80s because the Sonny Black was home. He was already a captain. Yeah, it was in the 80s.
yeah.
Joe Messina was back. Joe Messina never went anywhere. Joe Messina stood in Maspin. That's it. He never went anywhere. He went to Bridgewood. He never went to Knickerbocker, you know, Catalano, part of Catalano, you know,
Yeah.
with the heroin shit, the
Hmm.
Baldo Amato, Chaser. I know these guys. I mean, I met all these guys. But I made a promise to my father that I would never get involved with the mafia, right? Because he knew what it was about. But I liked the action. I wanted to be independent. And when I started writing my book in the beginning, that I had a book, shorter book version, and I was a more, Joe was still alive. You know, a lot of the guys were still around. I couldn't say too many really bad things. So I would say the word independent. I'm independent. And the Red Mafia guy's independent. You know,
Yeah.
people in these groups, but you could be independent as long as you give tribute, you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? You're an
Yeah. Like
associate.
if you come into a
You're
lot of
associate.
money, you get a big set, like a chunk of money. You gotta pay up, right?
Yeah, definitely. You got to pay up. If you don't pay up, you know, they steal it from you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt your family. You know, what I did that I was smart about, I moved out to Long Island. When I seen I couldn't get nowhere anymore, Joe Messina was a captain now. Now he was a skipper. And and anybody I went near, he would tell them, that's my nephew. I don't want him there. They all would back off. They all would tell me, I can't do business with you, you know?
Did
So
he
I
ever
used to
ask
say,
you to come under him? Did Joe Messina ever ask you to
you
come under
guys,
him?
you talk, yes, now you're with me. When it became a skipper, I came home. Yeah, I didn't want to be with him because I knew that he was not loyal. He fucked a lot of people, hurt a lot of people. You know, they stole a lot of money from people. He was a bad guy, sneaky bad guy, you know, and he just happened to get there because Rusty was always in prison. You understand? So he needed people that he could trust. And his nephew was his best friend with Messino. So
Like
when now the
Frankie
business together,
Lino,
shout out, man.
Frankie
Yeah,
Lino. Right?
yeah, Lino was more with Galante. When Galante got hit, then they combined. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Un Delicato was your red Delicato
Yeah.
was with Messina.